Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get us started, and if anyone else is able to join us as we go, then that will be fine. But otherwise, it looks like it will be the two of us. And this should be fairly brief. I just wanted to go over where we're at right now with the class and give you an idea of what's coming up next and what I'm looking for with the next assignment. But before I get started, did you have any questions or any concerns that you wanted to address? No? Okay. Um, all right. Well, we have just done the portfolio subject selection, and this is a really important choice to make. And I have given my feedback. It looked like everybody's portfolio subjects were good. I didn't see any issues. The only thing I look for is, well, the main thing I look for is that they're not too big a brand and too well known, because then that really limits your creative freedom to work with these subjects. But yours looked good. So, and you had Damad Nation, which is I guess that's a local music group out of Houston, if I understood correctly. And just so you know what to expect and what this subject will be used for as you go through the program, and you will be completing a series of projects, and so that subject that you chose will be the basis for all those projects. So you'll create media related um, projects like digital videos and some. I believe there's a web project in there as well that connects back to that subject in some way. You will also be creating some brand related um, media assets, like you will create a style guide in Portfolio Project 2 that will define that subject's brand personality, as well as their brand colors and logo design and so forth. And I mentioned this in the feedback, but all these projects are only meant to be academic exercises. So it's a way for you to show what you have learned and apply it in more of a real world format. But this isn't something that you have to share with your subject. So you wouldn't have to show Damad Nation what you're doing. You can if you want to, and if they like it and they adopt it as their own, then that's even better. But really, this is for your own purposes, as far as you're developing your skills and showing what you're capable of. So, is that pretty clear? Any questions about what your portfolio subject will be used for, or how it will be used? Okay. And that will carry through the entire program. If for some reason you want to change your portfolio subject along the way, you can, but it kind of takes away from the goal, which is to have a complete media package that's all unified around this common subject. So the next step is now to identify who that subject's target audience is. So this is getting an idea of who the individuals are that will most likely seek out your subject for whatever service or product, or in your case, the music that they provide. Who are their fans, and who are they trying to reach? And I provided a list of questions that kind of ask some basic characteristics about the typical audience member. But one thing I want to say about this list is that this is just some common characteristics. Not all of these will be relevant. In fact, a lot of these will only be relevant in very specialized cases. Um, Most often, the ones that will be important are a geographic location, like if if your subject is mainly in the Houston, Texas area, then most of their audience will be there. Or if it's more widely spread, or if they're trying to reach a wider audience, then their target audience might be, expanded to the entire United States or international. Things like gender, ethnicity, and so on, really that only comes into play if it's really very, very targeted as far as who your market is. So really think about who your subject is and what they're providing and who they're intending that for, as far as these characteristics. So I don't really see marital status coming into play very often. But if it was, say, a real estate agent whose audience includes first-time home buyers, then a lot of times that will be married couples, and so that becomes more of a factor there. How your audience communicates, and this question is in regard to both what channels they use to communicate. So, say, do your audience members use social media? Are they on Facebook? Do they mainly text or do they call? Sometimes if your subject has an older audience, they might still be using landline telephones like my mom does, and maybe limited in their use of the internet. So that's a factor to consider. Also included in this is how the manner of their communication. Is their voice more formal and businesslike? Are they more casual? Is there particular slang or jargon that will be used, or are they more reserved? So think about how they talk, how that audience would communicate to one another, and to when conducting business, whatever might relate to your subject. The reason that this question is important from a media standpoint is that if you know that your audience is on Facebook, for example, then you know that that's where you can go to reach them, and you can meet them where they're already at. So if you're trying to communicate your message to them, that's where you go, is where they already are. And then as far as their voice, the way they communicate, knowing that information will help you to tailor your media's voice so that it appeals to that audience more strongly, so that it's something that feels familiar to them. Identifying what the customers need or want, and how your subject fulfills that need. So this is basically why your subject is relevant, and what do they offer that nobody else does? Say if there's competition in that particular field, whether it's the local music scene or what have you. How are they going to draw the audience? So this is what I'm going to be looking for if in your next write-up. Again, these are just some of the possible demographic factors. If some of these are not relevant to your particular subject, don't even worry about addressing it. If marital status or gender isn't an issue, then you don't really have to address that. Just tell me what is the typical characteristics of your audience members. Even if they have particular hobbies that are relevant or pastimes, then you can include that as well. So you're not limited to these questions, and you also do not necessarily have to answer all these questions if they just don't have anything to do with your subject. All good there? Along with this, I've provided some tools that you can use to help find out about audience characteristics. For example, the US Census Facts. This is really helpful in that you can look up specific cities and even down to, uh, in some cases, to parts of cities like neighborhoods and find out the census data for that area. So you can find out things like um, the age range, percentages of the age ranges, income levels, ethnicities, and so forth in that particular area. So you will know, based on that, who is in your area, what makes up your audience. Pew Research Center has a lot of media-related research that you can draw from, things like who uses different social media outlets based on, again, age, gender, ethnicity, and so on. So you can find out that information. And Nielsen research, which you may know from the Nielsen ratings for TV, they have a lot of media-related research as well, and especially focused on television and radio. So here's some examples. This is Winter Park, and this is one small section of the report, but this is for Winter Park, Florida, showing how it breaks down the age groups. And one of the Pew Research studies, they put out their social media research report every year, showing basically who is using each of the different major social media outlets like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and things like that. So how this could help you is that if you know that your audience includes, people who are between the ages of 18 and 21, say, then you can see that 87% of them, at least in the United States, are on Facebook. Or 87% of Facebook users are in that age range, so you know that they are a pretty big part of that audience. And this is actually from Nielsen, so that's inaccurate, but it could be good to get on the Nielsen website, and this is linked under the assignment, and do some searches related to your subject. And this is one example. This is a report they put out on who listens to electronic music, and so it breaks it down by age as well as gender. So just some resources that you could use. I didn't put specific requirements for any kind of research information because you haven't reached the research course yet, so I don't want to require that, but those are available to you, and just wanted to make make you aware of those options. Did you have any questions about the target audience assignment or anything that's required for that? Okay, and I guess one of the last things I wanted to say about the target audience is that a lot of times it's good to know who your audience is already, but also think about who you want to reach. So if you have this core audience that's already, say, fans of this group's music, you already know that they're there, that you have them. But who else do you want to bring into these circles? And then think about how you can reach those new audiences as well. So that's something that you can also include in this write-up. So think beyond where your subject is now and where they want to be, and how you can bring in new new markets and new audience members. And that's really where we're at right now. I don't have anything more to present at this time, but and it sounds like you don't have any questions. So if you're all set, then I'm happy to let you go for the day. But I do appreciate you checking in.